What I have been working on here as a long-term fellow at the Folger is the first ever biography of George Chapman, a contemporary of Shakespeare's, who is a poet, a playwright, and a translator. Most famously, probably a translator, the first translator of Homer. I chose to do a biography and chose to do one of Chapman largely because I knew it would be an enormous challenge. But I also feel that he's an incredibly neglected figure in a field that is very Shakespeare-centric. But Chapman takes his work in very different directions from Shakespeare. He's a much more radical political thinker who gets in trouble several times for plays that he writes. And he's also much more steeped in the humanistic learning of Renaissance Europe than Shakespeare's. His poems, as he describes them, are strange, and they are extremely difficult and learned. His plays, on the other hand, were and still are quite popular. He writes tragedies. He writes what are arguably the first two tragic comedies. He's much more daring than a lot of the other playwrights that we see in the time, and continues to provoke with his plays even after they land him repeatedly in trouble. So he's really a very broad writer in the sense that he's working across all major genres except for prose, which is, again, one of the challenges but one of the appeals of working on him as a biographer. The collection at the Folger is remarkable for the number of early editions, first editions or early editions of Chapman's works that you have. And one of them is the penultimate work that he publishes. It's a 1624 work that's a translation of the Homeric Hymns, which are not in fact by Homer. They are much, much later. And Chapman is the first to translate them into English. And so every time I return to that work, I see something fresh in it. And it was really wonderful to get to look at it in the flesh here at the Folger. Anytime one works on a writer who is living and writing at the same time of Shakespeare, but who is not Shakespeare, you get a marvelous vantage point on Shakespeare. And it's certainly my hope that Shakespeareans will read this biography and learn from it, because, as I've already suggested, Chapman is a very different kind of poet and playwright. So in some ways, what we get when we study someone like Chapman is a sense of estrangement from Shakespeare, that Shakespeare has become the norm. He has become the high watermark and the standard, and I think there are all sorts of excellent reasons for that. But there's a very different model of how to be a playwright in Renaissance England from Shakespeare's, and it might not be worse in some respects.